What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Contractor Secrets Podcast. Today, I sit down with Allan and Chalie as they look at their business from above. They say, you know what? I'm doing something that's working, but it's not going to continue to sustain and allow us to grow. So I have to pivot. And in this episode, we talk about the pivot. We talk about changing the way we're doing things. A lot of hiring talk here. Really a lot of strategy, of course. But it's a great episode for anyone who is doing too much of everything, needs to narrow down, and just needs some of those principles hammered in a little bit more. So this is a great business breakthrough, and it starts right now. The big question you need to ask yourself every day is, do I own a job or do I own a business? And unfortunately, the majority of contractors out there own a job. That's right, they're a slave to their own business. But the other side of the fence is so much greener, it's so much better, and that's when you're finally fully in control of your destiny, your freedom, your time. And that's what Contractor Secrets is about. It's about taking back our time, building a business with systems, standards, values, procedures, putting yourself in the driver's seat. And that's what it's about. So I'm excited. I'm happy to have you here. Let's dive into the Contractor Secrets podcast.
All right. What is going on, everyone? Welcome to the Business Breakthrough. I'm here with Allan and Chalie of AWP Contracting. Just briefly touch base on a little bit about what they do. They work primarily for real estate investors. So what's the goal for you guys? You know, typically when people come on here, there's kind of like a roadblock or something. What's that area of your business you're kind of just want some clarity on? Are you looking to branch out and do your own kind of marketing? Are you tired of working underneath someone? Are you looking for more consistency? What's the issue?
So basically, right now I'm very involved in the business. So I work pretty much every day. We've really struggled on getting good people, to come work for us. It's kind of hard for us to hire in this area, I guess.
Yeah.
But since your hiring course, we have kind of got a few things out and got some applications in.
Right.
For us, biggest thing was Craigslist. That's kind of where we got most of the responses.
Love it. Okay.
But the biggest problem is we're in a kind of a small town area. And my main employee right now, my number one guy, he is actually like a family friend. He's actually part of our family. And I'm kind of running into some issues, with what's going on in the sense of, sometimes I feel like I can't say exactly what I want to, but it's related to the business because it'll hurt a personal relationship.
Yeah. So maybe him showing up late or not working the way that he needs to, in the way that you kind of feel like you don't have authority on your own job site.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, he does a great job and he's not really late or anything. It's just sometimes, I'm real bad. I'm real OCD about a lot of stuff. So sometimes, I'll kind of say something over and over again. And then I understand it's kind of my fault in the sense of, like I need to let him make mistakes and let him kind of learn on his own and stuff. And I kind of am like an earful a lot of the time. But at the same time, I just want that little bit.
Hey, your name's on the line, right? I mean, this is your business. You this is your livelihood. This is what feeds your family. And it's like, that if the standard stays high and remains high, you'll always have work,
Exactly. Yeah. That's right. Yeah.
OCD is good to a certain extent in business. Okay. Like OCD can be combated with supervision, right? Like OCD doesn't need to be micromanaged. And I think that what's that?
That's kind of what I'm doing as a micromanaging when I
you got it. Well, I think if you do that, it's kind of like you're squeezing the lemon as hard as you possibly can. And it's like, when you do that, it's just like, you're creating an environment of like, I'm not allowed to be creative. I'm not trusted. I'm not, valued. And for a family friend, they know you. So it's like, all right, that's how he is. Like, I still love him, but as you transition to employees, you're going to scare them away. You're in a very interesting predicament. And I don't know if you heard me say this on the podcast. Whenever I hear of remodelers, number one, it's very, very hard to find entry level or employees to just come right in and to be like you, because if they were as good as you, why are they looking for a job? They would probably be doing their own business because they're so versatile. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So
and actually, me and Chalie have actually recently, we listen to what you're doing, and we really want to kind of get this to where it pretty much runs itself, where of course, I still want to be part of it. I still want it to be, AWP and part of us. But at the same time, I want it to kind of,
you want to drive to the estimates. You want to sell the jobs. You want to collect the checks, oversee the jobs. That's where you need to be. It's not about want to be. That's what you should be striving for. And in the first year or so of your business, like that needs to be the goal. But the problem that you're running into, man, is the fact that like you do so many different things. You do bathroom remodels, plumbing, you do probably a little electric, right?
Yeah.
Probably
We're
doing
like,
electric,
yeah, we
knocking down walls.
yeah.
Dude, you're looking for, not only are you looking for a good person to come work for you, you're also looking for a majestic unicorn, not just a unicorn. You're looking for one that can teleport. This is going to be impossible for you to find at your stage, primarily for a few reasons. Working for investors, you don't really get to control how much you really want to sell the job for, because ultimately you're under the mise of a budget, right? Like they're trying to get this house flipped or rented as quickly as possible for as little amount up front, right? Was that usually who you're working for?
Yeah,
It's hard to
and
expand. Go ahead, Charlie.
to say this before, so we thought maybe if we start bringing on more people on our team, we can have, the employee that he's talking about that already works with us, we'll keep working on flips together, and then we can start bringing in new employees just to do flooring and painting jobs.
There you go.
Yeah.
I love it when that idea comes up and you guys have already accepted it, because you gotta branch this out a little bit. If you trust your guy, to be able to do the wide range of tasks on site, okay, that's great. Keep him there and let him flourish. Maybe even you go there. Tell me your name again. I'm sorry. I'm focused on Allan.
Yep.
Allan, if you go there and you help him, okay, that's fine. Like it's kind of like a separate gig, because again, you're the master skill set in your business. So it's not like you can just forget about that. But if you start a little flooring or a painting division, and you learn how to build a process that doesn't need to be micromanaged, that can start generating some income, that could be done on its own, you're gonna come to a crossroads, and you're gonna say, okay, do I want to expand this awesome thing that's happening over here because I'm becoming a specialist, or do I want to keep running myself dry? Soon you're gonna start to resent the remodeling business, because you're gonna recognize that if you just keep doing one thing, you're going to get to the financial goal you want and the time goal that you want, because it's inevitable.
Yeah,
right?
And honestly, man, it's already kind of started to happen a little bit. Like,
okay,
back in the day, I don't get me wrong, I love what I do. Like, you know what I mean? I enjoy it. I love making people happy. I love kind of seeing that start to finish, the transformation.
Yeah.
But within the past year, I've actually noticed myself showing up to jobs and just not being happy. I mean, like just stuff, especially like we just a big church job. It was like a 3-month long job. It was 8,000 square foot of flooring. It was huge. And by the end of it, man, I was done. I was mentally and physically just.
You didn't even want to start the next job.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly. So that's why we actually took a break, and we went straight into doing like we did a few French doors and like some smaller stuff that we could knock out quickly.
Right. Get our energy up.
Yeah, they kind of get
sure. One thing that is not concerning, but something that you need to address is the fact of perfection, right? Like perfection is not going to happen. Yeah. Don't forget about it. But it can be refined as you grow. And as these people start working alongside you, they see how you want it done. The first thing I would say to someone like you as a perfectionist is first outline, number one, the job type that you want to do. Let's assume that you want to do flooring. Sounds like you guys know flooring pretty well. And I'm pretty sure you know how to do trim and molding and all the things that come along with flooring.
Yeah,
you got to,
to do it. And
you can do it too.
I have no experience, and the fact that he so easily taught me, we
love it. Good.
To do for
so here, Allan, here's what you need to do. Number one, you got to create what's called an SOP, standard operating procedures. Okay. How you want the job done, right? And I think it's more than just the actual work. It's actually everything that comes before and after the work that's important to you. So when you go to a customer's house, do you want them to take their shoes off? Like, is that something that you would walk in and see that would upset you? Obviously, it's just an example, probably not, but like something as simple as, if they came to work and, didn't greet the customer, without you being there. I'm sure that's something that's important to you, right? So like, you got to outline that, because if you don't, then you can't hold them accountable if they don't do it. Like that's
Go
That's how you
ahead.
combat that.
Okay, cool. So Charlie gonna take notes on all this stuff, and like we definitely like we even like kind of we listen to a bunch of podcasts about this kind of stuff, and that's the one thing that we really feel like we should do, especially in our because like you said, I am so OCD and I like it a certain way. So like if I draw it out and write it out for them, it kind of makes it a little easier. But the question that I had, I kind of drew a blank.
Well, it's not so much that it makes it easier. It's that it's kind of like what you should have done on day one about exactly how you want a floor laid, where you want them to start or what you want them to do in terms of, the process. Are you doing a 2-man team? Are you doing a 1-man team? Are you, what is the skill set that the leader must have? Is he the one that's getting up and doing the cuts? And does the person who is helping him come to the actual saw and grab the board and put it back? Or does the person cutting run and give it to the guy who's, like, bro,
Yeah.
this business so well, you just got to get it out of your head. And the
Yeah,
reason why I'm
proud
saying
of that.
it's, you
I mean,
got to.
they really are. Yeah.
And the hardest
You,
part has been too, since we're doing remodeling, is like there's so many different jobs. Whereas if we had the painting and flooring business, it'd be so much easier to.
well, you keep running into roadblocks and there's no consistency, and I think in a remodeling sense, general contractors are general contractors for good reason. They are a main contractor and they sub out everything. Okay. So in other words, like a general contractor would be driving themselves nuts if they had to lay the foundation, put up the bricks, install the plumbing. I mean, they would be out. We wouldn't get any houses built. They understand the concept very well, is that, okay, well, I'm just going to be a really good delegator and I'm going to find specialists to complete what we're doing. And then the residential remodeling market opens up and contractors like you come in and say, well, I have this one client. All right. I don't have a ton of clients, so I'm going to do the work. And you're doing essentially that. You're doing the plumbing, you're doing the flooring, you're doing the painting, you're doing the, texturing, you're doing all these things. And this, so I don't want to beat a dead horse here, but you guys are on the right path. Find a niche that you like. But here's the thing. You're getting work right now from real estate investors. That's essentially easy pickings because you didn't have to go out and market yourself, maybe a little bit, but when you enter into a niche, you need consistent work if you're going to keep a team busy. Have you thought about that? Is that a concern of yours that you want to address?
Yeah. So we actually do a little bit more marketing. We actually do like word of mouth, which I know isn't like, the best way of doing it, but we actually have like, the signs and stuff up, and
Okay.
Chalie's actually built a really nice website.
Okay.
And I was actually wondering, like, I don't know, like, I know that this stuff is kind of, one thing, but like, I was wondering, like, if we wanted to get into details about the website building, I know I hear you talk about it on your podcast. Maybe we'll
Yeah.
have to.
A website is just like a yard sign. And if you're not running traffic to your website, it's like a yard sign at a house that's deep in the woods. So in other words, like,
Yeah.
I think it's great that you built a nice website. But again, if you're not running traffic to that website, essentially, if you're not putting the website on a billboard where people are driving that actually want your service, then they don't go there. In our industry, it's not so much people just stumble across your website and say, oh, well, I want a quote. That's not how it works. A website really is just, oh, they're a legitimate company. After I've decided I want a quote from them because I was brought here from somewhere, maybe a Google ad or a Facebook ad. Okay, let me look at their website, see if they're legit. And that's where Chalie's design skills come in to make them feel like you guys are legitimate. But again, if there's no traffic running to that website, it's as good as a yard sign on a back road that no one's going to see.
Right. And I think that's where we get most of our clients from, is we do the like bandit signs almost around all of our neighborhoods, and then they go to our website and then they give us a call.
Well, and that's good. And I think that, again, that helps because that's essentially traffic. You essentially put something somewhere where they saw it and then they did a little research on you and then they called you. Okay. So that's good.
Focusing in on the flooring and painting, like we get calls for everything, like French doors. And
you got it. I was just going to say that. It's like when you see the word contracting, that opens up the floodgates. That's kind of like, a restaurant saying food, like, well, what are they good at? Like, there's restaurants that are steakhouses. There's restaurants that are Mexican food. There's restaurants that are Japanese food. There's restaurants that are sushi. It's like, wouldn't it be crazy if they just said food? They wouldn't be good at anything.
So basically you're saying we need to kind of, if we do want to get into the painting and flooring kind of with that side of it,
maybe change our name.
that we need to change the name.
1000%, 1000%, because it's not so much like I love, and here, if you want to keep it, you can. You could do a DBA that's on all your marketing, but you're going to miss out on a significant amount of ignorant customers who don't understand what contracting means. But like you're going to miss out on a significant amount of business because it just doesn't say flooring.
What do you
They're
mean by
gonna
the doing business as?
Well, instead, you mean running ads?
No, no, the DBA.
Oh, a DBA is okay. So you can keep your actual entity, which is your actual name. Was it AWC contracting?
AWP.
AWP, excuse me. I'm trying to read your hat. So AWP contracting, but you guys can have AWP flooring as a doing business as underneath.
Okay.
So you don't have to like redo your whole business. You can just do a DBA. Yeah, you could keep. So it's kind of like, it's like AWP is like an umbrella entity for this DBA of flooring. Okay.
So
kind of like
new signs, we could just do like AWP painting.
I would really give that a go, guys. And I think that, look at,
that's
yeah, well, it's stressful having to redo your whole brand. You could keep the logo too. I mean,
I'm
you know,
saying-
shirts and hats and just stuff already. And
Well, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like the fact that it's been contracting for so long, and of course, I recently, and in the past, I've been wanting to do the broad spectrum, but
Yeah.
I've always wondered, kind of just to myself, like how are we going to only get the paint, and it's just such a simple thing.
Yeah. Well, I think you should pick one of the two, painting or flooring. Which one do you like?
Well, honestly, I mean, we like flooring, but I have a lot of painting equipment.
All right. So painting
have
honestly is
stuff.
going to be the easiest to market, sell, and produce. Okay. You can take someone off the street and teach them how to paint rather than having to teach someone how to make a 22 cut on a crown molding or a baseboard, bro, which
Yeah,
takes, which takes a mental, I mean, it took you a long time to master, right?
Yeah.
So
you got to cut it backwards, upside
crown,
down.
you got to
to the
flip
left.
it. You got to, dude, it's insane. My father-in-law does it. So I know. So, to get someone as good as my father-in-law, again, I mean, I don't even have to go to our crown jobs. I don't even have to go to my flooring jobs because he's so good, bro. So it's like, if I wanted to duplicate that, for me, it's like, it's near impossible because I have to find someone that good with that level of customer service and care, that level of quality. It's just hard, right?
Yep.
The highest level skill in painting is spraying, and in house painting, you're only spraying doors and soffits. There's only two things that you really need to spray, which you could go do if it gets to the point where you just can't find anyone. You could just do the soffits real quick and the door and then leave.
My guy,
Right?
the number one I was telling you about, I mean, he's actually really, really good at spraying. So,
So there you go. I mean,
that
and
covers-
honestly, I mean, it always feels like I always convert people to painting on this podcast, but it's like the margins are really good because it's a lot easier to add the paint to the price in painting rather than the flooring, because the paint prices are very similar across the board. You're not going to get like a range like in flooring. What is it? You can find a $2 square foot floor and a freaking
$5.
$7 square foot floor. So it's hard to give them a package price of labor and materials, right?
Yes, sir.
Well, with painting, hey, this is your paint, this is your materials. We're going to buy everything. It's great paint from Sherwin-Williams. Like, okay, great. And then you can mark up both.
Now, do
You know?
Here, I mean, like we've never bought material, like ever. I mean, like I've always made it. My
Yeah,
dad
you should
did,
in
right?
paint for sure. In paint, you should 100%.
We should.
Yeah, because you're going to, I mean, I would never run a painting business without buying materials simply because,
Do you actually upcharge anything like that, or do you just give them straight up what you get?
of course, upcharge. It's a 50%. It's a 50% on both labor and materials. That's what we shoot for. So
I'm
if
sure
it
that if you use Sherwin-Williams, like they pay like, I don't know, I don't want to say numbers out loud, but literally, our contract pricing is ridiculous.
I don't care. Yeah, I mean, for us, like you got to realize the average customer goes into Sherwin-Williams and sees $70 a gallon.
Yeah,
I
we
get
do.
it for 30.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
guess what? The average customer goes into a flooring store and sees the same price we do. Like
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, I mean, I never thought about that either. Like with painting and stuff, we have such a big a margin that we have control over. With flooring, there's absolutely none. You know what I mean? It's hard.
very small. That's why you have to keep small teams with flooring. You can really only do 2. And right now when we sell flooring jobs, we only do labor because I don't want to have to, go back when they say, oh, well, I want an $8 square foot floor. And then I've already worked profit on top of the material. And they go into a flooring store and say, well, what are you charging me an extra dollar per square foot for? I could just buy it here. It's like, it's just,
Exactly,
dude, it's just one of those things. So painting is going to give you the opportunity to grow. It's going to give you the opportunity to find really good help a lot easier. You know, it's like you could teach someone how to prep, you can teach someone how to roll and brush. I mean, I love it because the labor pool is wide open.
Yeah,
You
and that's
know?
where we've been running into a little bit of issues because during the hiring process, we put like awesome handyman wanted, you know, instead of painter. We just switched out the word painter for handyman in your course.
Mm-hmm.
We've not been getting the most ideal applicants.
Well, let me ask you this. Are you posting it on Craigslist or Indeed?
Facebook, we did Indeed too, and then Craigslist.
Okay. So when you put it on Indeed, did you actually write the actual copy that you saw in my hiring course about exactly what you're looking for?
Yes, but we
Okay.
kind of switched out just the word
Just switched out. Oh, you put handyman or you put painter?
handyman.
Oh, okay. Well, that's why, because a handyman.
Before this, before this, we weren't. We
weren't
were
sure.
still.
So you got to realize the average like person who wants to get into the trades sees painting and says, "Oh, I can do painting." The average person who wants to get in the trades sees handyman and says, "Holy crap, I don't want to change out people's toilets."
Yeah, and the only people that put application in, which kind of, you know, threw a red flag to begin with, and of course there are people that answer questions, and we're just like, how can you even answer that question?
Oh, you guys did the form? You guys put
Yeah,
through the form? Isn't that good? Because you can
yeah,
really
it's
see.
crazy. And then there was the one that says like, you can if you make a mistake, do you just hide it and don't tell anybody? And
Someone chose that
one
one.
chose it, and I was like, oh my god.
Oh my goodness, dude.
And we did the Facebook, you know, viewing the Facebook too. And the good applications that we did get, they had, you know, like throwing up middle fingers and
See, that's why you do it. That's why you do it. Hey, it's public information. You just put their name in Google and see what comes up. Nothing wrong with that.
Now the only and the other thing, I mean, of course, because I know the hiring and the application
Middle fingers.
or whatever right now.
we don't want that in our business.
No.
But everybody that gave us an application, of course, went for like crew leader. Like it didn't feel like anybody was being genuine about their skill set. You know what I mean? Like, what
Yeah.
I mean, is that
Guys,
something
handyman is somebody. If somebody comes at you and says that they're a handyman, they feel as though they can do anything.
Yeah.
So why
yeah,
would somebody who feels
yeah.
like they can master whatever you're asking them to do take a position? And guess what, guys? You put together a form that has you know, 3 tiers of what role they want. Dude, handymen are used to working what? Alone. When have you ever seen 2 or more handymen on a job?
Yeah, true.
So,
yeah, dude, you're making a lot of sense. It's crazy.
you know, so with painting, you're going to get people that say, you know what, I'm okay being the middle guy, or I'm okay being the bottom level guy to learn. Right. So it's like, because on a contemporary painting job, it's usually a couple guys, 3 or 4, you know, like I like 4, you know, when you get to that stage, you'll kind of see flows really well with 4. So a lot of things to keep in mind in that regard. I would just say this: you don't really need to do the DBA. You don't need to do all that. I think you should just test it out with your company. I think that there should be a strategy in place of, number one, how am I going to find people that want painting jobs? Like, that's the question you guys should be conversing to one another, is how do we find people who want a paint job? Now, right now in your area, there's somebody with a pulse and money that wants a painting job. And what they're going to do is they're going to Google painting in whatever area you live. You guys are absolutely nowhere to be found on that search. So that means that you will not get that opportunity.
I was wondering why we never really, you know what I'm saying? Because we get painting jobs, you know, and like,
And we're on Google, and we put like under our skills that we do painting and flooring.
You guys need to Google your own company the way a customer would. Kind of like how you guys, if you go on a date, you Google a restaurant.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. We all operate the same way. Everyone goes to Google. They go type in painter in this area or flooring contractor in this area. So you're missing out on a lot of leads that want the work. Now, yes, there's people that drive by a yard sign and say, oh, you know what? It would be a good idea to get my house painted. I wonder what it would be. That's a different customer than somebody that goes to Google and says flooring contractor, painting contractor, because they're motivated. They know they need it and they're ready to buy it.
Right. And we have that under the details, but the name itself, should we change AWP contracting on our Google page to AWP painting?
You, at some point you should. I'm just saying it doesn't matter right now if you decide to buy leads, because guess what? If you sign up for Angie, okay, and you tell them you want painting leads, they'll send you leads today. And the customer doesn't get a say on whether or not they want someone called AWP contracting to get their information. That's where you pick up the phone and you say, hey, you know, this is Allan with AWP contracting and painting. Just wanted to know if Tuesday worked for your estimate. You know, it doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, don't let all these hurdles of changing the name, changing the branding, changing all this stuff stop you from learning how to get reps in for finding people that want paint jobs, quoting paint jobs, performing paint jobs. Once you say, okay, this works good, hire someone underneath the person that's a family friend. If you feel as though they can run a job and they can paint and they can do everything that you want them to do, your relationship will probably be repaired because he's not having to do electrical, plumbing, taking down walls, remodeling. I mean, it's probably as stressful for him as it is you, and he's not making as much as you. Okay. I would be stressed out too. I mean, if I'm being put to the wall every single day to remodel a house every single day or remodel an area, right? So when you tell him, hey, this is how it's going to go, I would sit down and have an honest conversation and say, look, you know, I think we're running in circles here. I'm losing my joy for what we're doing. I think we're going to try this painting thing. And then emphasizes him, hey, how do you feel about being the project manager? I think I can get a hire this week. When you go out and find a hire, guys, you don't need someone with painting experience. You need somebody that's willing to work and learn. If you have someone that you said, Allan, like this guy, he said he can spray.
Yeah.
What do you need an experienced painter for?
Yeah.
So in your ad, Chalie, you need to put awesome house painter wanted, and in parentheses, no experience required. You're going to get 100 applications.
Cool. Now I have another question about how important or because we never do meetings, like we never sit down and like really have game plans and stuff. You know, I've always kind of just taken the punches as they go, I guess you could say. Should I like really start to make it, especially before I hire a lot of people? You know, that's why I really want to try to get all this stuff kind of figured out and get it kind of smooth rolling a little, at least, you know what I'm doing whenever it comes to hiring people. But should we actually have like legitimate meetings every week or every 2 weeks?
Don't think of them as meetings, because meetings sound so mundane and boring. It shouldn't be meetings. It's just think of what you just said meetings as alignment sessions. That's all you're doing is just aligning everyone's goal and vision. That's it. So make it a coffee, meet them at the Starbucks or Dunkin' Donuts, sit outside for 15 minutes or so and just say, hey guys, this is the goal. This is what we want to accomplish. Hey, this customer said this. If you make it a meeting, it's just miserable. Meeting is miserable. Alignment sessions is aligning the vision. And as a CEO of your company, you literally are the lead visionary. You guide the ship. If no one knows what's going on in here, Allan, okay, then they're going to come up with their own vision of what they think is best. And that's where the frustration occurs, because then you think that they don't care and they're just doing what a normal person would do. Well, if I'm not being told exactly what to do as an employee, I'm just going to do what I think is best. And then you come to the job and you say, well, what are you doing? Well, the SOP was the initial vision for how you want things done. And then you reiterate that and you hammer that out. Okay. So we got to take what's called intuition, which is how you operate inside your mind about things and how you do that. And we got to turn that into a process. Okay. So anything that you feel as though you're doing as the business owner that you're naturally good at, get it on paper so someone else can actually take that role from you.
Right.
That's going to be hard for you, but I'm telling you, with painting, I feel as though confident, as good as you are at your trade, you can look and see a paint job and say, okay, this is going well. My guys got it taken care of. The new guy's learning well. Now I can sit back and talk to the customer and enjoy being a business owner.
Yeah, for sure. I'm ready to get to that point.
Yeah. Yeah. When it comes to marketing, you know, again, I say Angie or I say Thumbtack or I say these because right now you need them more than they need you. Okay. Don't misinterpret me here. There is a place in time where you should get most of your business from yard signs, word of mouth, organic Google listing, and all that stuff. But right now is not that time. You need a springboard. Okay. You need to get entered into the game. You need to walk into the stadium and start playing. Right now, if you guys depend on your word of mouth and your yard signs, you're not going to get the testing done. You're not going to be able to throw a new hire into a paint job. You're going to have to settle. And Allan, you're going to be like, all right, well, today you're not going to be doing painting. You're actually going to be doing flooring at this remodel because I have no painting jobs for you.
Yeah.
That's when the momentum gets crushed. The employee's confused and he's thinking, well, that's not what I signed up for, but I have to do it because I need to make money.
Right. We don't want to put them in that situation.
I know, I can tell. I just want to make you aware that spend the money on the marketing. Okay. You could do Facebook marketing. I think right now you should call Angie, call Thumbtack. Have you used any of these services before?
I mean, I've had, they all call me every day. I'm
We
trying
tried
to get
using
them.
home advisor too, I think.
Well, it's the same company. Angie changed their name to Home Advisor, but it's Angie Leads. Don't do Angie's List. Super confusing. I don't know what they're doing. But anyway, I mean, for example, guys, let me give you an example. January 1, I actually really started my flooring company, Premium Flooring. Okay. Every day I have a flooring estimate. I have no marketing other than Angie Leads for that. No one knows premium painting that well to Google us and see if we started a premium flooring company. They don't care, but what I'm interested in is how soon and how quickly can I get in front of people that want a flooring estimate? That's all I care about.
Yeah.
There's enough money to where I can spend $1,000 on ads for my flooring business because I know I'm going to generate on 4 jobs. If our average job is $3,000 a week, that's 12 grand. So if I spend $1,000, okay, subtract that from my 12 grand I make for the month, that's 11 grand, pay my labor, and that's it.
You're good.
That's the mentality though. Cause when we see $1,000, oh, I don't want to spend $1,000 on marketing. Well, you got to, or you're not going to make the 12 grand. So it's just when you sign up, make sure that you identify, okay, hey, what are we comfortable with making? How much do you think we're going to sell from these amount of leads? Ask them, how many leads will I get with this? And then they'll give you projections. They'll say, you'll get 20 people that want a painting estimate.
Making a lot of sense. So
Yeah. I just want to make sure that you set off on the right foot here. Because right now, after you leave this, you're going to head into the direction. You're either going to go back to what you were doing before, or you're actually really going to try this. Now, I know the intention's good. You want to do it, right? But the doing it is the hard part. So I'm trying to give you some shortcuts because you really just need to be in front of people that want a painting estimate. That's it. And I know you can sell it, right? You're presentable, come with a nice branding, stay with AWP until you guys say, okay, we're getting a lot of flow here. Let's change this to AWP painting. Don't get crazy about that, but sign up today. Go on Thumbtack, sign up for an account. Go on Angie Leads, sign up for an account, call them, set it up, get some leads, find out what that looks like. As soon as a lead comes in, you guys hear me say this.
Should we have another employee kind of set in stone before we start busting out these jobs, or should I just
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Because what's cool is that you can time the job for when that employee starts. So let's say you guys hammer out hiring really hard this week. And Chalie, let's say you do 10 phone interviews and then Allan does the in-person interview. I think you should both do it. That's powerful. You guys are like a power couple.
Cool.
Go there, both sit in front. I'm serious. Both sitting there. You're going to be a little intimidating, but guess what? They're going to be like, all right, this is serious. I think that's power. Do you guys ever do interviews? Have you ever done one?
Not yet.
Exciting. It's really cool. So, when Chalie, you get a good applicant, email them and say, hey, I'd like to set up a phone interview with you. What's a good time and the best phone number. You have the best phone number, but you want to see if they actually read what you said and they actually send a phone number, right? There's a lot of psychology behind this, but you're trying to find people that follow instructions. Like that's the whole part of this whole thing. Okay, great. Do the phone interview, do a nice structured phone interview. Allan doesn't need to be a part of that. Once you find someone good, say, Allan, hey, we have a good one. Set up a time for the in-person interview at a Starbucks, at a Dunkin' Donuts. Sit down, okay? Where you sit there and take notes, Chalie, and Allan, you grill them with work questions if you feel as though they need to have a certain skill set, or if you can just identify that they're willing and motivated and hungry. Allan, you set the expectations about being on time, being presentable, willing to learn, what they're going to be doing. Like that's all, that's your job. And then Chalie, you just take notes and then you guys say, okay, we're going to call you if we decide to move forward. Don't hire them on the spot. Let them go home, sit down, converse. And then once you guys see that work one time, never change it. Do that every single time. Do not compromise on that. You might get a friend of an employee and say, you know what, he can just start the next day. Don't do that. Take them through the process. Everybody goes through the process. If there's a process, then we can create a result. If we find a good result, then it could be repeated. If the result doesn't come out as good, that just means we have to refine the process. That's business. Anything that you guys do in your business from this point forward that does not have a process, you're gambling a poor result. So for example, when you get an Angie lead, a good process would be pick up the phone and call them immediately.
Right.
Yeah.
Another process would be, what do we say to that lead when we call? That's the process, Allan. Hey, this is Allan with AWP Painting. Say painting. Who cares? Does tomorrow work for your estimate? I received your information on Angie. Okay, we're going to be in your area at 10 o'clock. Don't say, hey, did you request an estimate on Angie? No, of course they did. So assume that they want to meet with you and assume the close on there. And they say, well, I'm not ready for an estimate. I didn't mean to do it. Oh, that's okay. Well, we typically just come out for free to give you a budget for when you're ready. I'm going to be in your area tomorrow at 2. And then you sell them when you get there. They put in the information.
Change too, though.
What?
So we've recently been doing like a $50 consultation fee for estimates.
Oh
now-
God, no, not for painting.
Yeah. Well,
Absolutely
we
not.
do real estate investors, but
For them, yes.
we need to change it. For
Yeah, absolutely, guys. Don't ever mention that ever again in the painting industry, okay? Because it's just you're going to lose business.
Yeah.
And
I
yeah,
to a different contractor podcast, and they suggested that we do that. So that's a relatively new for us because we felt like we were
Yeah.
just doing
100%.
Now,
Get
the
rid of it.
conversation though, I don't think it would really even really go with painting. To see the biggest reason to consultate, because I feel like every painting estimate, I mean, of course, there are going to be certain things you got to look at. So I feel like for the most part with painting estimates, you can do it over the phone. You know what I mean? Like you're
Don't do it
saying,
over the phone either.
you said don't.
Never.
Okay.
Allan.
Yeah.
I forget whatever you learned from that, wherever you learned that from. I'm telling you this, I've sold over $4 million in painting estimates.
Okay.
We don't do them over the phone in the first 2 years, man. You know, eventually I transitioned to doing some virtual, but there's power in person, man. You can't convey enthusiasm over the phone. You could, but not as well as you could person to person.
I mean,
You
I don't
can't-
mind. I enjoy doing
No,
this.
I'm
I
just
mean,
saying
all the
you're
time,
in a
I-
position of survival right now. Because right now you're the business. You need to do a power transfer so you can grow your business. Okay. So I'm just saying every estimate matters in person because you need reps, you need practice. So you need consistency. You need to learn how to nurture leads. Chalie, you need to learn how to stay organized in the office, right? You need to learn, hey, you know what? 5 of these leads that we had didn't answer the phone. I got to follow up with them, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Dripjobs does that automatically, the software that I have, because I know that this is an issue. Okay. But where I'm getting at with this is maybe you're not ready for that. And that's fine. You just need to learn how to nurture leads, how to call them. And what I was telling you about processes, Allan, is that I broke up a couple processes for you just now. Hiring was one. How we do the hiring. Okay. How we nurture leads. When a lead comes in, we call right away. What do we say? How do we say it? Okay. What do we do once they do accept that? Where do we put the calendar invite there? How do you get the information on your end? This is all a process. And then where I'm getting at with this, Allan, is that, okay, well, we have on the job processes too. How do we paint? What are we going to do? When I go to the estimate, what will we say yes to? What will we say no to? If I ask you to come on and do an estimate for me, Allan, are you going to take on wallpaper and popcorn removal? Don't let your remodeler start coming into play.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the hard
He's
part.
like, oh, well, you know, I was thinking I'd like to remove this wall. And you're just salivating like, oh, I could do it.
No,
Like,
yeah, I
we
got
do that,
you.
but we don't need to do that.
I think
Just
that's-
narrow down.
As long as I get my fix in the sense of, you know, like once the, you know, this side of it gets really rolling and I don't have to be there as much, you know,
Yeah.
as long as I can do my, you know, 1 or 2 days a week or
I encourage that.
every 2 weeks,
I
you
love
know,
it.
have a fix of remodel and we're good.
Yeah.
Remodel on your own because your other business is running itself. You want to do
Yeah.
remodeling, you're actually going to enjoy it and you're not going to feel as stressed and pressured. You like to remodel a bathroom and do it, bro. But get this guy running. Okay. So
Yeah.
essentially with a team of 3, you should be hitting about 5 to 6,500 in sales per week. Okay, that's a team of 3. That's a good average. Team of 4 could do between 6,500 and $9,000 if the schedule is optimized. So it's like, you know, if you get a team of 4, you should be able to hit, you know, 36,000 in a month. You know, after all your expenses, if you, again, that's optimized at 9,000 a week. I mean, you're making a pretty good income with one team of 4 doing 2 to 3 jobs in a week.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, it's only-
I mean, it's genius if you really think
You know,
about it.
It is. And then on the side, you're over there building your remodeling side by yourself. And you know what? You might say, okay, I'll just do one of these and you're going to be able to run out and go do estimates and not feel pressured. I mean, there's a lot of good here. So did you have any other questions? I mean, do you feel like this was helpful?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, definitely
100%.
a great starting point. We also had a few questions about like using Gusto and when we should start switching over our current employee to
Yeah.
W2, but we could always do that in the next session.
No, that's okay. How are you paying your current employee now? I don't need the dollar amount, but is it an hourly rate or is it a piece rate?
It's
Hourly on most jobs.
Hourly?
Well, every once in a while, like we could, because it's remodeling and stuff, like if there's like a job that he goes out and does, like I don't have to go there at all. I pay him on commission based on, the profit, whatever, once left at the end of the job, they get a little piece out of it basically. Instead of doing by the hour. That usually just gives them a little bit more money than by the hour.
Keep the hourly and then do it as a bonus. Like that's the best way to do it.
Yeah, sure. That makes sense.
To answer your question, Chalie, the best time's today. Because Allan, you should be getting paid from your own business through payroll. You are actually an employee of AWP Contracting. Although, yes, you are also the owner, you are also assuming the role of an employee. So you should be receiving some sort of salary and compensation for that, as opposed to you just taking the profit every time.
Yeah. And I actually literally just listened to one of your episodes where you did like so basically you told the guy he needed to do that. And then like if it was him and his dad. It was probably an episode you did a long time ago because I started from the beginning,
So many, dude. But it's, I think I remember, but him and his dad and allocating him a salary.
Yeah. And then he did like like at the end of the month, they did like a dividend out of the dividend for like a bonus for them and stuff.
The profit. Yeah. So but you got to build that early. Don't wait until you actually have, because right now I would assume that you're the supervisor of the company, right? You do all the estimates, you do all the sales. You're actually doing all the production, right? So
Chalie helps quite a bit with estimates. I mean, like,
okay, so Chalie helps with the estimates. Yeah. So like, and to be honest, Chalie should be on W2 as well. Do you have any other job, Chalie?
No, just
so reason why we do this, guys, is so you guys can prove your income, right? Like when you guys want to buy, if you want to buy another house or you want to get another car, you have a pay stub from AWP Contracting. And then, the best case scenario is at the end of the year, you look at all the profit, and then that's when you cut yourself a big dividend profit check at the end of the year. And if Chalie is essentially a 50% owner, which maybe that's not the case, but you guys get it, you'd split it in half, or you guys would do it all one big chunk, but that's how you do it. And to answer your question, you should do Gusto today. You should get that guy on there today, maybe after you have that conversation, Allan, about the new direction of what you're doing, and say, hey man, look, this isn't working. I'm sorry for being stressed out. I'm sorry for micromanaging you. Let's make it better.
Be W2s, and he should be a W2 as well.
I was going to ask.
Yeah. So you need to assign yourself a salary, Allan. So
that's what I was going to ask.
I don't know what your sales are. Let's say your sales are, do you have a rough estimate of what you're doing on a monthly basis?
Like $5,000 to $6,000 a month.
Okay. So right now is probably not the time to cut yourself a salary, but you still want to be a W2 employee under Gusto, onboard yourself under Gusto. So it should just be you and the other person.
What is I missing something on the Gusto?
Gusto is the app he always talks about.
Oh, it's just it's a payroll processor that essentially allows you to add that person that works for you, plug in how many hours he gets paid, and they just take the exact amount of money that he's due out of your bank account and gives him direct deposit. And what it does is when it does that, it actually takes out the taxes and puts it to the right places for you. And it also allocates workers' comp, which you probably need. What state are you in?
North Carolina.
I'm pretty sure you need workers' comp there. So they allocate workers' comp. So when you bring in this new employee, you want to have Gusto ready so you can say, okay, we're going to send you an email, and the employee is going to be able to onboard themselves. So Gusto sends them an email. The employee fills out all the paperwork, puts in their bank account information. And then when that employee works 40 hours, all you got to do is put 40 and hit send, and it takes out the money and pays him, and he gets a pay stub. So now you have a little leverage over what they're probably used to. Many people that come from another trade are used to getting a personal check written to them or whatever.
What do you suggest for so obviously whatever he makes now, if I pay him the same dollar amount after the taxes, it's going to obviously be like a big difference to him. How do you?
Unfortunately, you set yourself up for that. And that's kind of how you have to think, okay, do I overcompensate him to keep him with the same amount he's used to getting? Do I find a little bit less and say, hey, listen, We're doing it legitimately now. The benefits of doing this are, number one, you're going to get a pay stub. So in the event you want to build your credit or you want to get a house or a new apartment or a new car, you have some proof of income. Okay. I'm also taking on more expenses as your employer because I have to pay company taxes on your wages. So whatever he pays in Medicare, you have to match. You see? So it's like, again, in terms of being a business owner, you have to be very clear on the expectation. Now he might say, you know what, I can't do this. And maybe that's a blessing for you. I don't know. So in any case, we don't compromise what the business needs for one person's feelings about a decision we need to make. In other words, you guys need to see yourselves as $1 million company and make decisions right now as if you were $1 million company. That's getting a payroll in place.
Yeah,
that's that's investing in marketing, that's creating rules. And this person who seems to be somebody, from what I understand, as an independent, somebody that doesn't like to follow instructions to the way you want them done, you might be heading into the wrong direction with that. And he might be a major inhibitor of your growth. You might say, you know what, let's leave him on the remodeling side. Why don't we look for somebody with some painting experience and see what happens first before we do that?
Just keep him with the remodeling because he is very independent, and I just feel like
he listens to stuff fine.
But he's been so loyal to us,
Yeah.
That's why we definitely want to keep him on, just maybe not in the painting business.
Right. And that's cool. It would just require a little bit extra diligence on your hiring to find what we assume to be a project manager, someone that knows cutting, rolling, and spraying. And that's going to be a little harder initially, but if you find the right person, you're in a good position. So you have to do both of these at the same time, though. You have to get the marketing ready and you have to do that hire. So, hey, I'm going to get leads and I'm going to turn those leads into sales. And I have a hire that can actually perform those jobs. To be honest with you, you might think, well, this is kind of risky. You should hire 2 people at the same time. Find that project manager that knows how to paint and then find a helper for them. Okay. It's not really good to send one painter to a job and then say, well, look at the numbers. What would you pay somebody like that? Let's say you pay that project manager $25 an hour. Let's say you pay the helper $16 an hour. That's $41 an hour. Okay. Times 8. 8 times 4 is 32. That's only $350 a day.
Yeah.
So if you break the numbers down like that, decisions become a lot easier, but you got to be a student of those numbers. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, for sure. We understand.
I think, I'd love to have you guys back once you hit that next level. So feel free to jump back on, and you have some action steps today. Definitely look into the hiring, get Gusto set up, call Angie leads, get all this going so you can actually test out this theory if this painting business is what you really want or enjoy. And I hope that leads to freedom for you, Allan, because I know right now you feel kind of bogged down.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it, man.
Good luck, guys. Thank you so much for your time.
You too, man.
All right. See you later. Dripjobs CRM is finally here. That's right. So Dripjobs is an automation platform for contractors, home service professionals that's going to automatically follow up with your customers. It's going to allow you to send invoices, estimates. It's going to allow you to send out blast marketing emails to individuals based on where they are in the buying process. This software is next level. And I'm reaching out to you. You're a listener of this podcast, and I want you to be one of the first ones to give it a shot. So if you want to see what Dripjobs can do for your business, I'd love for you to head over to dripjobs.com, sign up for a free demo, and get your team involved, and let us sit with you and show you how powerful this software is. It's going to save you time, it's going to make you money, and you're going to love the features that are built into Dripjobs. So if you want to check it out, head over to dripjobs.com. And we will give you first priority, being a podcast listener, to be one of the very first to try out Dripjobs in your home service business. I'm super excited to share that with you, and I'll catch you on the next episode.